And welcome back to Who Would Win. This Who Would Win comes to us from the Prince of Zakul, who asked the question, who would win a fight? Danny Phantom from Danny Phantom, or Fenton, but he's Phantom when he's like that, versus Aminatou, the Fate Weaver from Magic the Gathering. So, Danny Phantom, that his molecules get all rearranged. Gonna get more because he's Danny Phantom. I loved Danny Phantom, watching that on Nickelodeon. Back when Nickelodeon actually had good things. But no, I think he's 14, maybe 16 by the end of the series. But he's a teenage kid, became half ghost. As such, as normal Danny, he doesn't have any abilities. But he can minorly access some of his abilities in his ghost form. Like he can do minor energy blasts, he can do some minor intangibility, a few things here or there. But ultimately, the echelon of his abilities, the max capability of his abilities are in his ghost form. Which, in his ghost form, he can fly well above, because 12 miles an hour is what they clocked him at, but it's pretty obvious he went beyond that. He got much faster at that point. But 112 miles an hour minimum. Strength to lift, roughly, it's not known what his actual strength feats are in terms of actual tonnage, but it's clear he can lift probably in the 10-ton range, roughly speaking. He does have a heightened durability, as he can take lots of energy blasts from, the energy blasters, energy weapons, lots of blunt force trauma from punches. So he can also recover a bit quicker in his ghost form than he can in his human form as well. He can become intangible. He can become invisible. He can possess individuals of weak will. He can fire ecto-energy blasts. He can produce a sonic whale strong enough to basically tear apart robots and other ghosts. He can produce ice, cryokinesis, which is part of where that ghost sense comes from. If I remember correctly, all of his abilities real quick. He can make duplicates of himself, although that ability did tire him out a bit more, even when he did finally get it down. I'm trying to think of any other abilities that I can't remember of his. He also usually carries the Fenton Thermos around with him. And despite Danny's average grades, he's not dumb. In fact, he's actually quite clever when it comes to combat. So, and he's got plenty of experience fighting ghosts. But, if you're asking me who wins this fight, well, it's going to be Aminatou. Now, why is this little 8-year-old girl, which she is described as being, going to beat a teenage half-ghost superhero with an echelon of powers? Well, in the game of Magic the Gathering, there are multiple planes of existence, probably nigh infinite. Not quite infinite, but nigh infinite. And most of the time, characters are kind of stuck between these planes. They're just stuck in these planes of existence. One plane, like Zendikar, is a vast world of, a living world that, can react and, is violent, aggressive, and you have the citizens of that world. Another world, like Ravnica, is one giant city, and, you have the people of those worlds. However, there are people or characters, they're not always people, sometimes they're like a dragon or whatever, a sphinx. There are individuals called planeswalkers. They have a spark that allows them to walk between each individual plane and go through the multiverse itself. Aminatou is a planeswalker, but all planeswalkers are generally mages of some kind. They generally have abilities that allow them to, perform certain tasks, and they generally seem to be a bit stronger than your average mage. Well, Aminatou is a very unique case among planeswalkers. Aminatou is capable, and I'm going to read this verbatim, because I think it's very important to read this verbatim so you understand why Aminatou kind of beats the hell out of a lot of individuals, actually. So, her spark ignited when she was ignited at a young age, and for seemingly no reason at all. Because usually what ignites a spark is trauma or a lot of a extreme amount of stress. Trauma of some kind usually ignites it. And for seemingly no reason at all. Although, if one were to ask why it happened, she would tell you, because I foresaw it would one day, and I decided I didn't want to wait for that. Her magic revolves around fate and the manipulation of destiny itself. She can perceive the matrix of fate and foresee the destinies of others. Like all 8-year-olds, Aminatou is playful and fickle. Her own destiny is something she toys with on a daily basis. Some days she'll grow up to be a singer, other days a powerful wizard, some days a trainer of beautiful beasts, and other days conquering queen. She is young, but because of her powers possesses the knowledge of a lifetime. most striking feature of Aminatou is her calm demeanor. Her magic is expressed through these intangible moths. When one of her wisps, or her moths, power lands on a person and nudges the fate in whatever direction Aminatou chooses. There is very little most opponents could do to fight against fate itself when fate can actually be it's I actually pitted her up against the character known as Yuwak from Bleach, who literally has an ability that allows him to not just see every possible future, but alter it to his whim. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to guard against something like that. Now, there are individuals who have the ability to do something against it. For instance, if I were to honestly say who would fight, her, Ugin, or Nicol Bolas, I would still probably lean towards Nicol Bolas or Ugin, two characters from Magic the Gathering, if you're not familiar with them, who are like elder dragons, simply because they've had years of experience and they're not dumb enough to let like one of those wisps of moth land on her. Now, that being said, she would lose the fight because she'd probably just hightail and run or just manipulate her destiny to not be killed. But that's the thing. She can manipulate not just others' destiny, but her own destiny as well. And Danny, for all of his abilities, first off, Danny would be a dick for attacking a kid. But if he can tell she's not a normal kid, he would attack her. Unfortunately, this fight would probably start off with one of her moths landing on him, and therefore it's game over. The only feasible way you could, in theory, beat her outright as just a normal person is to hit her before a moth lands on you. And even then, that's no guarantee because she can basically, her own destiny is something she toys with on a daily basis. But that's the thing. She's like, her destiny is what she wants it to be. But basically, like I said, she can perceive the matrix of fate and foresee destinies of others. Now, don't be wrong, there are people who basically defy destiny. But like, for instance, I would actually argue she would not beat Naruto in a fight because Naruto literally has spit in the face of destiny on multiple occasions. So, it's like destiny seems to not be able to put him down. So he might be like one of those people who defies destiny itself. Saitama, for instance, because he's the One Punch Man and he's so powerful, he actually can break through other dimensions to some degree, pocket dimensions. It's one of those things where it's like she's not infallible. She's only 8. But you have to have the right kind of ability or just a personal being to be able to stop her. And Danny's not it. Danny would not be able to take her down. Now, in a straight fight, like fisticuffs fight, she would lose because she's still only an 8-year-old girl with the powers of an 8-year-old girl. Or physicality of an 8-year-old girl. Like, Danny, in theory, could just beat the living hell out of her. But unfortunately, if her destiny and his destiny get manipulated even by one fraction of what's actually going to happen normally, it's done. Danny's done. And that's more than likely what's going to happen, because I foresee the realistic scenario being Danny doesn't like what he's getting, the vibe he's getting off this girl. He maybe tries to reason with her, the moths land on him, and it's over. So, yeah, unfortunately for Danny, he's outclassed by a being that can literally manipulate his own destiny at will. Anyway, I go Aminatou in this fight. Who do you got? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put it in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win. Superhero, magic, what if. Anything I do on the channel, put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. I will be back with, well, it's Friday, so I won't be back with anything. I'll be done today. Although I might pre-record the what if, which I'm not going to say what the what if is. I might pre-record it. That's about all I got, though, folks. Thanks for watching. I still got but the Kong versus Godzilla spoiler review will be up before this, but I still got to do that. Till then, have a good one, folks. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Later.